What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Unplugged and Uncut, the new source for sports news and entertainment. And today is the start of our NBA draft top prospects. We're going to get it started with our number one prospect for this year. But before we get started, if you haven't taken the time to hit that subscribe button, make sure you do. We will be giving away a PlayStation 5 once we hit 100,000 subscribers. All you got to do to be entered to win is be an active subscriber and leave comments in the comment section. That's all. But without further ado, let's get into the number one prospect for the 2022 NBA draft. That is right. And guys, you're going to go to a lot of different draft sites and see different players pop up. But I'm going to explain to you why this player is the number one player for this draft. And we're actually going to get into our top 10. In other videos, we're going to go 1 through 10. But today, we're going to start with the one and only Jabari Smith out of Auburn. That is right. Jabari Smith is my number one prospect. He brings a skill that you just can't teach, which is height. The man is a 6'10", 210-pound, 18-year-old elite prospect. The forward out of Auburn, that excellent skill that he has is the shooting. That is right. Jabari Smith is an excellent shooter with good size and a picture-perfect shooting form. Now let's take a quick look at some of his stats to see how Jabari Smith came out this season. Now, he averaged 16.9 points, 7.4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, and 1.1 steal. But I will mention that his rebounds and blocks were affected by the 7'1" giant, 245-pound Walker Kessler, who averaged over 8 boards and almost 5 blocks a game. So it's kind of impressive to still be able to get in there and get you 7.5 boards with Walker Kessler just eating up rebounds and still get you a block shot with the man averaging 4.6 above you. So Jabari Smith, even though we didn't see as much of a defensive prowess as you would like, shows that he's still able to get the job done. Now, his draft position, guys, you're going to see him projected to go 1 to 3 and mostly slotted in at the number 1 or number 2 position. That's right, he's either going to go 1, 2, or 3, top 3 pick. This guy is that good. Scouts are comparing him to Rashard Lewis and a Kevin Garnett clone, which I don't like that comparison, and also a 3-point shooter in Triple J. I kind of like that one. Now, my personal player comp is more fitting, I think, because when you start saying Kevin Garnett, to me, that's a whole nother level animal. Kevin Garnett didn't just bring the offense. That man was a problem on defense. He played both sides of the ball. And I'm just not ready to go there with Jabari Smith, guys, and say he is a KG type player on that defensive end. I get what they're saying with the ability to get buckets, but Jabari Smith is a 3-point threat, unlike Kevin Garnett was when he was coming in the league. Now, so my player comp is a Chris Bosh when he was with the Raptors, but with deep range. So he's more of like a smooth shooting big. He can put the ball on the ground a little bit, but he's not the best dribbler. Not that he's bad, he's just not Paolo Banchero creative with the ball, or he's not Keegan Murray with the ball, but he's not bad with the ball, so he can create a little bit for himself. But this guy's more in the mode of Chris Bosh, where he likes to take that jumper. He catch and shoot player. LaMarcus Aldridge likes to catch and shoot, except he's a little bit more mobile than LaMarcus Aldridge. That's why I like to say a young Chris Bosh when he was with the Raptors. Go back and watch some footage on a young Chris Bosh. He was really good with that catch and shoot, mid-range, deep two. You're going to see Jabari Smith launching threes, though, guys. This man got range. So Chris Bosh with range would be my player comp. Now, his per game stats aren't bad, but if you look at his per 36 is where you start to really see Jabari Smith shine. Just from his freshman year, he would have averaged 21.2, 9.3 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.3 blocks, and 1.4 steals. And what the per 36 is, guys, is basically taking your average and breaking that down to what it would be if you played 36 minutes a game, which is basically about the average that an NBA player plays. So they like to break it down to that per 36. And Jabari Smith shines in the per 36. Even his normal stats shine. Now, when talking about Jabari Smith, a lot of times people are going to bring up, well, what about Chet Holmgren and what about Paolo Banchero? Both of those guys, I believe, actually have an option to be the #1 draft pick. So I'm not saying that they aren't. I'm just going with my best available prospect. And Jabari Smith just is an ultra talented power forward who's one of the most elite three-point shooters at any size that's in college basketball. He has a quick release. It's picture perfect. He's smooth when pulling up from deep. He's lethal with the catch and shoot once again. And this player just is going to, as a player, he's going to have some ridiculous nights just shooting in the NBA where he's just on fire. And he's a big man. He's got good athleticism. I wouldn't say great, but he matches good athleticism with nice size. And he has room to add to his frame a little bit more weight. He has a solid build. Even if he stays as he is, he's still a solid build. Doesn't have the most length, but he's got good length. 6'10" is not bad. Probably more like 6'9.5" without shoes, but they are listing him at 6'10", so we will go with that. He's got no problem battling above the rim. He will get you buckets inside. He'll get you buckets outside. And like I said, that shooting touch from mid-range, his face-up game is just impeccable. He's still a little bit of the dribble drive game needs to be worked on, but I think that'll get better as he goes along. He's got a decent vertical, not the most explosive vertical, but he's not limited either. So I'm going to say he's got a good vertical. He's a good athlete. I don't want to say a great athlete because he's not a freakish athlete like Vince Carter jumping out the gym, but he's not a bad athlete either. And then you combine that with his shooting, his ability to grab rebounds. He's really good. He can guard just about any position when switching. He's not going to be able to stay with Trae Young, super speed type players, but for some of the slower point guards and some of the other guards, he'll be able to switch a little bit, and you'll see that potential on defense start to stand out where you got a big, because he might have to play the 5, y'all. The NBA is switching out to one big and a bunch of wings and guards. So he might have to play that 5 and be able to play on the wing a little bit or sag in on defense and step out when needed. And I think he could do that. So, guys, that's my breakdown for Jabari Smith. I really think he is the #1 prospect in this draft, and it's really because that picture perfect shooting form at 6'10". That is just something you cannot teach. That's the building blocks of what everybody's looking for in their stretch big. Somebody that can shoot and has height. So I'm going to be checking in the comments to see if anybody agrees that Jabari Smith is the #1 prospect. I'm not saying he goes #1. It really depends on the draft order and the lottery and teams picking on position of need. But to me, Jabari Smith is the #1 prospect, with the other 2 in the top 3 coming in really close. And what sets him aside and makes him stand out over the others is that elite shooting and that elite shooting form. Man, Klay Thompson shooting form. I'm talking about picture perfect. Guys, go back and check out some of his highlights. You will be impressed with Jabari Smith. If you haven't seen him play, go ahead and check him out. I know he had a little bit of a bad game at the end there in the NCAA tournament during March Madness, but that happens sometimes. Don't let that one game fool you. This man will be a problem in the NBA for years to come. I do believe that. But that's all I got for you guys. Once again, I'll be checking the comments to see who agrees with me, who disagrees with me. And if you do disagree with me, let me know who you think is the #1 draft pick or the #1 prospect. Do you think the top prospect is Jabari Smith? Do you think it's Chet Holmgren? Do you think it's Paolo Banchero? You might think it's Keegan Murray. I mean, there's a lot of players to choose from in this draft that have a claim to that number one spot. You might think it's Jaden Ivey. But today, on my block, I got Jabari Smith. And tomorrow, I'm going to hit y'all with my number 2 prospect. So make sure you're tuning in. But your boy out. It's been fun. Peace.